It's 2016 and for whatever reason, you're scrolling on 4chan and come across a very bold claim. The post reads, "I am one of the 23 scientists responsible for what you call the Mandela effect. I'm here to answer questions regarding the original timeline and why it is happening. I will not disclose where I work or what I do at work." So, the Mandela effect. You probably remember how it blew up around this time. It's when very large groups of people have the exact same memory of something that literally never happened, like what you saw in the thumbnail of today's video. Thing is, the Mandela effect is most obviously real, and so far no one's been able to come up with a definite explanation as to why. And then OP comes along and says that he is responsible for the Mandela effect. Let's be for real. We both know that OP is lying. So why don't we turn this into a little game? For every question OP answers where it actually seems legit, he gets a point. And for every question where it's painfully obvious that he's lying, we get a point. So if you want to join along and play the game with us, comment this emoji to show that you're ready to begin the games. So, the first question that one of us asked was about the Berenstain bears, a kids show. Now, this is a very petty, insignificant thing that ends up turning into a weirder, larger thing as the plot thickens. So, keep hold of it for a second. Huge groups of people remember that the original spelling was Berenstain bears, but apparently it has always been Berenstain. Now please tell me why. This guy replies saying, "You are being deceived. The original timeline was Berenstain bears, specifically the Berenstain bears. Aaron was the upstate, Berenstain is a layer to hide the truth." First of all, this guy completely dodges the question and doesn't even mention the present day spelling, which is AIN. Because he didn't even answer the question, 1 point for us. After this point, OP explains his villain origin story. So, apparently, the scientists, including himself, tried to merge two realities together as an experiment, but the experiment failed and they f***ed up our realities as a result. They work on quantum supercomputers that update our realities, and that's what causes the Mandela effect. And apparently, if they don't fix it in the next few years, the whole system's gonna crash. There are differences in memory because you aren't supposed to remember any of it. Somehow you have remembered, and this is concerning. Currently, it is spiraling out of control, and we anticipate a larger population that will experience memory anomalies within the next few years. By 2020, everything will settle. Unfortunately for this guy, it is the year 2023 and I still remember the Monopoly guy having a monocle. On God, the Monopoly guy had a monocle. But apparently that's just a false implanted memory. But you may be thinking, heck, even I'm thinking, but that's so tiny, that's so petty and insignificant. Who cares if the Monopoly guy had a monocle or not? But apparently OP says that it can get a bit freakier than that. The proof is that people are noticing the differences that was not supposed to happen. For most people, the spelling of a children's book means cool, but there are people out there right now wondering what in the hell happened to their children, or why they suddenly have 2 kids when they know for a fact they never had any before. It's stuff like that. I'm sure more are gonna come out, but I'm not sure exactly what. I don't even know what to say about it, because it's like, I haven't suddenly become a mother when I know I've never had kids before. I just personally remember the Monopoly guy having a monocle. But who am I to say that that hasn't happened to someone else? It's unlikely, don't get me wrong. It's highly, very, very unlikely. But since we know the Mandela effect exists, we can't 100% rule it out. I'm gonna have to give OP a point for that. But if you thought that was weird, here's where it gets even freakier. So OP says that there has also been changes to our literal skeleton. Let's play a mini game of this ourselves. I am about to show you 2 skeletons, right? So pause and tell me which one you think is correct and comment it right now before I show you the answer. So, if you remember option 1 to be correct in this reality, then you're right, that's what a normal skeleton looks like. However, if you remember option 2 to be correct, OP says you're from the original timeline before they altered the skeletons, and option 2 was the original version. Freaky, I know, but apparently these are just 2 normal human bone structures. If you're a biologist or a doctor or a skeletonologist, then please comment down below and enlighten all of us on the actual correct bone structure, or if both of them are correct. Now, at this point, someone commented asking why chartreuse, the color in between yellow and green, looked different. Someone else replied saying that they remembered it to be different as well. Then, that's when OP replied saying, if you remember it as a color that you would call red, or a red-like color, then you were from revisions 1 to 4. Originally, the color was different, yes. Now, I've heard a lot of Mandela effects in my day, but I've never met someone that thought that chartreuse was red. Please tell me if anyone else remembers it being red, but this man said revisions 1 to 4. Now, that obviously raises the question of how many revisions are there, but at this point, my guy has come up with some kind of elaborate sci-fi worthy villain origin story and is still developing the plot in a way that makes some kind of remote sense, and for that I gotta give it to him. Like, I'm begging someone to turn this hoax into a movie. Now, we finally go back to the Berenstain business. As we pointed out, OP completely dodged the question, and someone commented what we were all thinking and said it still doesn't explain why it's spelled with an A. And here's where OP flopped. This guy let me just read what he said. Right. And I quote, one of the scientists on our team shares the original name, so we distorted it as much as possible to cover the updates. I cannot say who his name is because it would give away where I work. Flopped is an understatement. Here's where you backflipped. Here's where you somersaulted, and that you distorted it to cover it up because it would give away where you work. But we already know that the original name was Berenstain, so we're looking for someone with the last name Berenstain. And then he says Jeremy can help. Find Jeremy, read between the lines. And then he just blows his cover like he says, your consciousness was transferred to the server to avoid a mass extinction event. I don't have much longer. I must leave now. Jeremy Berenstain. Good luck. And that was the last thing he ever said on 4chan. So first of all, Google that name and you do actually get an actual scientist called Jeremy Berenstain. But this guy is old, like 93 years old. I say, we leave Jeremy alone. You know what OP is giving right now? OP is giving, you know when you were in primary school, right? And you used to put a book up to your face and then you talk to the person next to you when you've already made it so bait that you were talking. That's what it's giving. That's what it's giving. It's actually frustrating. It's like, I'm almost disappointed. Like, this hoax had potential and then OP just decided to ruin it all at the end, act like we're stupid and can't put 2 and 2 together. But what else could we have expected from 4chan's most elaborate, stupidest hoax? And if you're looking for some more interesting / semi-mysterious content, I would strongly advise you to click here for some more.